she renounces all claims to Finland and the US. She gives up Yerevan and Kars in the Caucasus and the oil port of Batum to Turkey. She also agrees to pay Germany 1 During the peace negotiations, Latvia, Finland, Lithuania, and Estonia declare their independence. Brest-Litovsk, one of the most humiliating treaties in history, completes the collapse of the old Russian Empire. Victorious in the east, Germany again takes the offensive in the west. Her troops smash through to the Marne. Allied forces again fight with their backs to Paris. But, led by General John J. Pershing, nearly 1 million American troops are now in France. They help slow the German drive. July 18th, Marshal Foch, commanding the combined Allied armies, declares, "Everyone is to attack as soon as he can, for as long as he can." A great offensive forces the Germans to withdraw from their dearly won positions. Again, the Marne is the scene of an Allied victory. The fresh Yankee troops hearten the weary Allies as Foch, in one mighty effort, throws his full strength into battle. The advance continues in the face of stubborn resistance. News comes of victories on other fronts. On September 29th, Bulgaria surrenders. On October 31st, Turkey signs an armistice. November 4th, Austria-Hungary quits, and prisoners taken in the relentless advance stream to the rear. In Germany, the people are faced with starvation caused by the British blockade. Revolution breaks out on November 9th. The Kaiser abdicates and flees to Holland. November 11th, 1918, an armistice is signed when delegates of the new German Republic meet Marshal Foch at Compiègne. The war is over. Crowds celebrate the end of the bloody struggle. It remains only to draw up the terms of peace. In December, President Wilson sails for France to conduct the negotiations for the United States. Wilson's 14 points were the basis for the armistice, and he now believes his idealistic dreams of a just peace and a strong League of Nations will prevail. At the historic Palace of Versailles in Paris, statesmen assemble to draw up the peace treaties. In January 1919, the first meeting of the peace conference opens. Here, Wilson insists that the League of Nations be an integral part of the peace treaty. And here he learns of the secret treaties concerning the spoils of war. These treaties, which include promises to Italy and other powers on the Allied side, threaten Wilson's ideals of a just peace. Also threatening them are the demands of embittered peoples and statesmen to make the Germans pay. The conference is dominated by Lloyd George, Wilson, Clemenceau of France, and Orlando of Italy. The Italian presently withdraws, leaving the others to carry on the work. July 28, 1919, the Treaty of Versailles is signed between the Allied powers and Germany. Let's see what this treaty does. First, it deprives Germany of all her colonies. German East Africa goes to Great Britain and to Belgium. The Cameroons are divided between Britain and France. British also get Togoland. Southwest Africa goes to the Union of South Africa. Germany's Samoan Islands go to New Zealand. Our Pacific Islands north of the equator, plus her rights to Kiao Chau and Shantung, China, go to Japan. Her islands south of the equator, plus German New Guinea, go to Australia. On her western front, Germany restores Alsace-Lorraine to France. Her frontier districts of Mornay, Eupen, and Malmedy go to Belgium. Her Saar district, rich in coal, is to be governed by the League of Nations with provisions for a plebiscite in 15 years to determine French or German ownership. The Reich also agrees to demilitarize the left bank of the Rhine in a zone 32 miles deep. On Germany's eastern front, Wilson's principle of self-determination is attempted. Poland is re-established, and districts inhabited chiefly by Poles are handed over to Poland. To give the Poles access to the sea, the Polish corridor is provided, separating Germany from East Prussia. This corridor is criticized as a certain source of future trouble. In a plebiscite between Germany and Denmark, the province of Schleswig goes to Denmark. Danzig, overwhelmingly German, becomes a free city under League protection. Upper Silesia is to hold a plebiscite to determine Polish or German ownership. The German city and district of Memel goes to Lithuania to provide that new state with a Baltic port. Minority problems are out of the war. To indemnify the Allies in money and materials for all the damage caused is also added in the treaty. The money indemnity alone amounting to $31 billion. Germany is compelled to limit her army and navy and to abolish conscription. The Reich has been stripped of her wealth, her colonies, and her power. The first job of the peace conference is done. The Allied powers ratify the treaty. President Wilson returns to the United States and tours the country seeking to arouse public opinion in its favor. He pleads in vain. Aware of the document's faults and fearful of entanglements, Congress rejects the treaty and the League of Nations. Meanwhile, additional pacts lop territory of other defeated states. The treaties of Saint-Germain, Neuilly and Trianon deal with Austria-Hungary and Bulgaria. The new state of Czechoslovakia already has declared its independence. Bohemia and Moravia, the basis of this state, contain 3 million Germans. To include them will affront the principles of self-determination. To exclude them, it is thought, will fatally weaken the new republic. So a compromise bounds Czechoslovakia by the mountain ranges of ancient Bohemia. Thus, Czechoslovakia not only includes a German, but also a Hungarian minority. Yugoslavia, which also has declared its independence, presents another difficult problem. It combines Serbia with Bosnia and Herzegovina, plus land inhabited by Croats and Slovenes. The boundary with Austria is settled by plebiscites. But the bordering territory of Istria and the nearby territory of the southern Tyrol, with its population of 400,000 Austrians, become the pawns of expediency, for they are handed over to Italy, starting more minority problems. Fiume becomes a free city like Danzig, but thus little Serbia becomes great and finally gains access to the sea. Romania presents more minority problems. She demands Transylvania, where Hungarians jostle Romanians, and the treaty makers finally give it to her. Thus another 1 million Hungarians are alienated from their homeland. Moreover, the former Russian territory of Bessarabia, which has voted for union with Romania following the Bolshevik uprising, is allowed to continue as Romanian territory. So Romania expands greatly by the war. Bulgaria adds her quota of minority troubles. By the Treaty of Neuilly, she is forced to yield territory to Romania, Yugoslavia, and Greece. After further negotiations, Greece also takes over Bulgaria's Aegean coastline, leaving the little kingdom a landlocked nation. The boundary between Austria and Hungary is determined by plebiscite, and the dual monarchy is split into separate independent nations. By these treaties, Austria is limited to a small landlocked territory. The fears of Franz Joseph are realized, and the disintegration of the great dual monarchy is complete. Finally, there is Turkey. The first peace treaty, that of Sèvres, leaves her little more than Anatolia. Its terms are so drastic that the rising Turkish nationalists refuse to accept it. But the Allies are tired of fighting, and so Greece alone goes to war with Turkey to enforce the pact. Greece can't beat the sick man of Europe, however, and so in 1923, the Treaty of Lausanne is drawn up. Its terms are harsh, but less so than those of its predecessor. In Europe, the old Turkish provinces of Constantinople, Eastern Thrace, and Gallipoli remain in Turkish hands, while in Asia, in addition to Anatolia, Turkey retains Cilicia and Adelia. But Syria goes to France. Palestine goes to England under mandate system. Most of the Dodecanese islands go to Italy, and from other Turkish territory, 3 semi-independent Arab states arise under the protection of England. They are Iraq, Transjordania, and the Hejaz. With the signing of this treaty, the First World War is officially over. Further disputes or ramifications are referred to the League of Nations. Summer 1923, a new Europe, a hopeful world, a prospect of enduring peace. But already tomorrow's leaders are toiling and scheming, for jealousies and hatreds still smolder in the hearts of men. These leaders will fashion new armies to replace the old. They will regiment whole peoples for conquest and revenge. For the new map of Europe is hastily and in places roughly drawn. The task of the peacemakers is not done. Europe's history does not end at Versailles. The ultimate effect of the First World War awaits the question mark of the future.